This is Metal Mike, and in this episode I talk with the Shred Demon, David Shankle. You may remember David from his killer guitar work with Manowar in the 90s. We catch up with him and we hear about the bands he's involved with today: Feanor, Grave Rain, and Holy Tide. We also talk some Manowar, of course, guitars, and hot sauce. Yeah, that's right. Check it out. Well, David, welcome to the podcast. How you doing, brother?
Hey, Mike, thanks for having me here, and looking forward to seeing all the people and hearing what's going on with me and my 80s metal and then some, brother. Thanks. I'm ready to shred on with you here and play some music and answer some questions and update people to what's been happening with the Shred Demon and what is going on now. So thank you for having me.
Oh, you got it, man. And let everybody know the intro music that was played was actually Etude, which is an instrumental of yours, man. It's some kick-ass playing in that one.
I appreciate that. That's from my first DST CD that was still on Magic Circle Music's label, which was Manowar's label. I think that came out around 2002 or 3. So, yeah, that's the opening track there, Etude. Thank you for playing that.
Oh, you got it. Well, hey, man, everybody's been kind of going through this COVID thing. A lot of people have had downtime, but it seems like you've been, super busy. Right now, you're, playing in 3 different projects or maybe even more. Let's talk about it.
Yeah, during before COVID and mostly during COVID, I started to rebuild my home studio, and during that time, before COVID, I had gone overseas and toured twice with Feanor. So we decided to do the record, and everybody was in their own country when I was writing with the guys. And, during the COVID time, which is a terrible thing for everybody and people that have lost their lives, their businesses, their homes, hopefully there's some light at the end of the tunnel. But for me, I keep pretty busy. I run a music school, Milwaukee Music Academy. I teach a lot of students online, beginner, intermediate, advanced, all styles, classical guitar, bass guitar, acoustic, electric, shred, teach them music theory. I'm a graduate from Roosevelt Music University with a bachelor's of music from there many, many years ago, which I finished right when I got out of Manowar. So during the last, probably 3-4 years, I have been involved in 3 other projects. Obviously, the Feanor project, which I toured twice with them in the last 4.5 years. We went the first time and did the entire Triumph of Steel CD, because prior to that, myself, Ross the Boss, Tony Martin, that used to sing with Black Sabbath, Feanor reached out to us to do some guest solos on their CD, We Are Heavy Metal. So I played on 2 tracks, In the Darkness and Water Garden. And that went really well. The record did well for him. And then Gus and my manager and all of us talked and said, let's have Dave come over and let's tour and actually do the Triumph of Steel record. So we did that. That went very well with a different singer, Lobo, at the time. And then I went back again while we started writing some of the music. Our singer, Sven Dianis, who's in Germany, and he sings in the band Wizard. They just released their new record on Massacre Records, their 12th record, and Feanor's records, Power of the Chosen One, comes out April 23rd on Massacre Records as well. So, getting back to the story, we started writing the music, and then I went back for a second tour and had our main singer, Sven Dianis, and we did the tour again, Brazil, all over Argentina, and it went really, really well, and we played a few clips of songs from the upcoming record. And then I just decided I was going to be in the band, and I wrote 5 of the songs out of the 10 on that record right here in my home studio, played all the parts, the whole 9 yards, and then, sent everything over to the singer and the bass player, Gus and them, so they could do their parts to that and lyrics and everything. And the whole record was mixed and mastered over in Argentina, and they did a really, really great job with it. And we did, Skype stuff from time to time so we could all put our 2 cents in, and so it went really, really well, and we're happy with the way it turned out, and it's done. I have a copy. It's all good. You have one of the tracks, the opening track, Rise of the Dragon, and to be honest with you and everybody, I wasn't in Manowar after the Triumph of Steel to be around long enough to co-write with Joey, which I wrote Triumph of Steel, which is gold and platinum for me, and I'm proud of that, with Joey. The first track I wrote for that album was Ride the Dragon. And Metal Warriors and Master of the Wind and The Burning and Power of Thy Sword. You know, we co-wrote that stuff together, but I handed Joey a lot of those rhythms and he wrote the lyrics and stuff. And I'm very proud of the time that I had in that band and the things that I did with Manowar. They helped put me on the map, and I've toured all over the world 3 times with them. But things change, always do. And I moved on to DSG. But right now, I'm very happy about the Feanor record, Power of the Chosen One. The video's out on Massacre's YouTube channel and mine, Rise of the Dragon. And the new lyric video was just released last Monday, the 5th, Power of the Chosen One. And we will be following up after the record comes out on the 23rd. Maybe in May, we'll be releasing a live video clip when we were on tour, Hell is Waiting. So that's another thing that'll be coming to the band on that. So that's the thing I'm focusing on now. And I have 2 other bands as well. So that's, you know, and you're going to have that track to play, so I appreciate you doing that.
Oh, yeah.
The Feanor record.
Yeah, man, I've been jamming on the singles, Rise of the Dragon and Power of the Chosen One. They're great, man. It's straight up power metal. Like you said, it's got some of the Manowar vibe there. And it's catchy as hell. I heard it a couple times, and it was like stuck in my head.
I appreciate that, because those first 2 songs, Rise of the Dragon and Power of the Chosen One, the singer Cindiana sent me 10 seconds of a lyric, no music, no nothing. It said, "Hey Dave, by the power of the Chosen One," you know, it gave me all that. He said, "Write a song to that." And I wrote the entire song around 10 seconds of only that vocal line, and that's what we came up with, you know, as well as other songs on there. And then we co-wrote stuff together, Gus and I, Walter, and Sven. But as that was finishing up and getting into the mixing and master stages, a good friend of mine I've known for 15 years, Tony Angle, who was in a very popular local all-original band called Veilside, and he and I always wanted to jam together, and I was in Veilside for a while, and we did some shows for Farm Rock and stuff with Queensryche and Dokken and Slaughter and stuff, and that goes back about 5-6 years ago, which is where I met the people that got me into the hot sauce. And we'll get into that down the line.
Okay.
But Tony and I always wanted to jam together. So we decided to write some songs. And what I wanted to do was take the best of what he could do in Veilside and what I did with DSG and kind of put the 2 together and come up with something a little heavier. And we came up with a concept record about war, famine, civil war. You know, what would it be like if the earth got destroyed, if the bombs really went off? What would be left on the planet? Would there be good people, bad people? Would there be a sanctuary? Where could you go? So we named the album Destination Aftermath. That title and the chorus of that song came to me in a dream, and I got up and recorded some of it and sent it to Tony, and then he wrote all the lyrics on it. Tony wrote all the lyrics on the album. I gave him ideas for some words and for choruses, but he did a fantastic job. Our engineer Joe, we did all the mixing and mastering that. So Tony and I did the whole thing. I started off with just programming the drums, I played all the guitars, all the bass, 12-string, 6-string acoustic, classical guitar, and we had our engineer Joe, you know, we went to him and basically, you know, programmed the drums. We did not bring a drummer in. But now that I said that, you wouldn't know that unless I told you that. Joe did such a phenomenal job programming the drums, and that record is being shopped right now with our OPK, with my longtime friend and manager, Johnny Pendergrass, that was managing Manowar with Tom Miller at the time I came into Manowar back in 87, beginning of 88. And Johnny's been with me, Ross, and Rhino the entire time. So we've got a lot of good bites on that. And while the Feanor thing's coming out, shopping the Grave Raid thing, I have a third band that I've been involved with for about a year and a half. I was approached by Joe Caputo, a progressive symphonic band called Holy Tide out of Italy. they had put a record out, but right when we were booked for like 27 dates, bam, the COVID hit. And as you know, no bands toured or did anything. And all the disaster that came from that. So that's when I started rebuilding my studio and started talking to Joe, and our manager got us on the phone and said, look, since COVID hit, nobody's touring. Why don't you and Dave just start composing a new record so by the time a year goes by or whatever, hopefully the COVID thing will settle down. We'll have a new Holy Tide record that I actually wrote and composed with Joe, the bass player in the band, to where when we do tour, it'll be with me on the record because I composed and was involved with them. We've got a great new singer, Mike Stark, who sings in the band Stormburner. They're on Pure Steel Records that my last DSC record was on. This guy's got pipes that are amazing. I'll put him up against anybody. Michael Bars, the drummer, phenomenal drummer. So that band is in its embryo stages. We've got 4 songs so far, more on the way, probably going to be 14, but that's going to follow up behind the Feanor Power of the Chosen One record. Then I'll be bringing out the Destination Aftermath. And we have our website. People can hear a track on that on graverainband.com. We have swag, T-shirts, you name it, my hot sauce, Veilside CDs, TST CDs, Grave Rain T-shirts, the whole 9 yards, mailing list, fan club stuff. We have the Facebook page for all these bands. So I'm happy with all 3 projects and currently writing the Holy Tide thing right now. And, finally we're all starting to see a little bit of light from this COVID with people getting shots and stuff. So I pray for everybody that works and it goes in a better way. I see some bands starting to get booked, and we all need to survive and stick together and make it through this horrible time. And, let people open up their restaurants, clubs, open up and have their bands and foods and stay alive, and people not lose their homes or their lives anymore, because it was really, really bad there for a while. And, hopefully there's some light at the end of the tunnel. And with all that going on, thank God we were able to teach our students online, or we would have had troubles with our music school,
Oh, definitely. Hey, man, another album I want to ask you about is the first DSG album, Ashes to Ashes. If people out there haven't heard that album, they need to check it out. I mean, so many cool songs. The title track, Tolling of the Bell, The Widow's Peak. I mean, that's a kick-ass album, man. I really like that one.
Thank you. That album was my way, after being in Manowar, to show everybody how I can really play guitar. I can compete with the best of them, that I can write, compose, and do what I really do besides the true metal stuff with Manowar, and I thank them for that time in that band. But don't be mistaken. That band is Eric and Joey, and that's the way it is, and it will always be. And without getting into it, we had great times, bad times, but with Ross out of the band, me out, Carl out, Donnie in and out, Rhino in and out, the drummer that was in and left. I mean, there's reasons why that's happening. I don't need to mention names. Sure. It is what it is, and I get great times. But one thing I will say for me and Ross started that band with Manowar, and when I came into the band, I didn't fill his shoes. I brought my own shoes, and people were like, "Wow, you got Joey and Eric," and then I brought Rhino in with Scott Columbus, and I love Scott. God rest his soul. To bring in a new breed of players into Manowar, everybody was like, "Wow, Dave Shankle and Rhino are kind of like the Paul Gilbert kind of Racer X guys coming in to Manowar." And, I really wanted to put our sting on that. And, we had to keep it in the Manowar vein, but some of my best stuff, for that album never made it to it because, Joey and Eric wanted it the way they did, and that's okay, and I had great touring. So by the time it was time for me to exit the band, and I was going back to school, I had put together the Ashes to Ashes CD and the band. Well, Joey wanted a piece of that because I know he felt like, he was in Manowar, and we got our record label. We love you. We're still brothers of metal. So, he gave me some money. He put the record together. We had our engineer get everything all lined up. We took it overseas and had the producer of the band, Rammstein, mix it and master it with Joey. And we did 2 videos, Ashes to Ashes and Calling All Heroes. sales, and it did very well for me. But people were like, wow, we knew you could play more and hotter than just what you did on Triumph of Steel. And that was kind of people saying, look, man, you know, you got your Youngmays and the Paul Gilberts and that. Hey, I got my space right in the middle of all that, too. That's more my thing, the whole progressive, neoclassical kind of stuff, you know, and that's what the 3 DST records were all about. Hellborn, I brought in the 7-string guitar and shifted gears a little bit with a different singer, but still heavy and progressive. And then Still a Warrior was with Warren. Hellborn was with Dennis Hirshire. And, you know, Warren, I brought in Halverson for the last record. It did very well. And then it was time to just put that on the shelf for a while. I was going through some health problems, got divorced, moved, and, you know, had several operations, and, you know, and found my place to stand on my feet again. And, you know, the Lord gave me my hands back, and now I got 3 other bands, and things are going great, and, you know, a new line of guitars coming out, Hot Sauce. So I just keep moving forward, man. And if people like what I do, I appreciate it. I love my Manowar fans and all the fans I have from DST and from Feanor and the new stuff I'm doing. And, you know, run my music up a flagpole and see who salutes it. If they love it, great. If they don't, then, you know, fuck off. I don't care. You know, if you like what I do, great. If you don't, whatever, next. You know, it's a big world out there. You can't make everybody happy, and people can be cruel.
Oh, sure they can. Well, hey, man, I got to just tell you something. I got to tell you that, to me, Triumph of Steel is probably the best Manowar album, in my opinion. I mean, I think it's the fastest. It's got the best musicianship. I'm just a big fan of that album. Always have been.
I appreciate that. And there's many other people that feel that way, and nothing against Ross. He started that band. A lot of people love the early classic Manowar.
Yeah.
So you've got different generations of that band Manowar. They've been around a long time. You know, and they're still going, you know, with this other guitar player, whatever. Mm-hmm. And, you know, so Ross made his legacy in the band. And when I came in, I made my legacy in that band that nobody could take away from Ross or from me. Carl did what he did. Feel sorry for what happened, but oh, well, you know, this other guy, you know, Ross and I really made a mark in that band. And Ross, you know, he'd been on 5-6 albums before I even came in. But Triumph of Steel was the first record to be in the top 10 of Germany when it came out, and the first record out of any Manowar record to ever go gold. Mm-hmm. Out of any of them, and I'm very proud of that, and I will wear that on my shoulder till the day I die. And you know, and it's funny you brought that up, and I'm glad it's your favorite record. And I like a lot of the other Manowar records. I had a fan on Facebook, a young lady, say to me, "Hey Dave, I'm a huge fan of yours in Manowar, and I love the DSC stuff. I got a question for you." And she came to me in my inbox. I said, "What can I do for you?" She goes, "I wanted to ask you why every time you do a video or there's any writing, it says David Shankle, formerly of Manowar, currently Feanor, Holy Tide, Graverain, DSC." She goes, "Do you think the Manowar fans will forget you?" And I kind of chuckled and I said, "No, it's because that's part of my legacy, and Ross is out there pushing Ross the Boss, Manowar, Dictator's doing his thing, and he has the right to do that. Just like David Shankle has the right to say, David Shankle, the Shred Demon, formerly of Manowar, DST, Feanor, Holy Tide, Graverain, because that's part of my life. You know how many guitar players would have loved to have had a chance to stand in my shoes and Ross's shoes? We earned that right, and we have the right to say that, and I hold true to it until the day I die, and it'll live on after me. But she wasn't being rude. She just asked me why, and when she got back to me, she said, "Well, I understand that nobody's going to forget you. I just was wondering why you said that." And I said, "Because that is me, and it's part of my life." I mean, look at the Feanor record. That record was meant to be, Mike, 3 different bands, 3 different records. Mm-hmm. The Feanor record, basically, bro, is my part 2 to Triumph of Steel that I never got to do because I wasn't in the band anymore to do it. So in the modern age, and Feanor, that were Manowar fans, and Gus was like, "Let's have Ross and Dave do guest solos." Then we got me in the band and wrote a record to be our new modern, progressive, epic, true metal. And, you know, we have the Odyssey on there in 9 parts, like we had Agassi and Ecstasy. Mm-hmm. from the Triumph of Steel record. And it's not a copy of the record by no means, but it's my way of saying, let me go back to the true metal roots I have, do a heavy true metal album with Feanor that can easily, in my opinion, be very close and stack up to what the Triumph of Steel is all these years later, because my hand was in on writing Triumph of Steel and Feanor. So I feel very comfortable, and the band does in my management, saying that, and I hope the fans do. Now, on the other hand, Grave Rain, me and Tony, that is a different side of the coin. It's more progressive metal, more of the Dave Shankle, all three DSTs kind of put in together of the heavy, low tuning, Veil Side Dave and Tony thing that gets you in that whole world. Concept record. And like I said, and that's doing really well. The stuff that we're sending to stations and people been hearing it, are digging it, labels are digging it. And again, Holy Tide, different side of the coin, different side of the world. Now you're getting into the symphonic, progressive metal, neoclassical stuff, which I would put that band, even before I was in it, in your Nightwish, Rhapsody of Fire type world stuff, Symphony X thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Over in that category. So, and it shows three completely different sides of my writing, composing, playing, solo work that I can fit into anything and make it work. It's because, that's what I do. It's one thing to be a hot shit guitar player, but can you write songs? And then when you write songs, do you know how to produce the songs so you can get them the right way on a CD and then engineer them with a producer and an engineer to make it all work? And I do all of that, and I work with great people in the business too that I learn from and help to do the best we can, and it's always an ongoing learning thing, So I'm proud of them, and I'm very proud of the Feanor record and what I did with Manowar, and I think the fans will love that record, I hope, and I think they'll be looking forward to the record of Grave Rain, Destination Aftermath. We have the lyric video out already for that all over our websites and YouTube channels, and we'll be following up with another lyric video, which is On the Wings of Fafnir, another Dragon song, which is about, Fafnir the dragon, and I'm having that cool paint job of him I bought the rights to, painted on one of my new 7-string signature guitars. So That's going to be a whole other thing and surprise when we start to bring that album out. So I'm excited about all of it.
Well, I'm glad to hear with Feanor, it's going to be that spear of Triumph of Steel, because as a fan, I was always looking for another Triumph of Steel or something of that,
Right.
type. And then when Louder Than Hell came out, man, I was just like, no, hey, don't get me wrong. I've come around to Louder Than Hell over the years, but at the time it was just like, it was a total switch back to like the, almost like the battle hymn sound.
It was a whole different thing. They switched gears.
Yep.
It wasn't me and Rhino in the band anymore.
Right.
Rhino was out, Scott was in, then Scott was out. Rhino was dealing with a holy hell then, and that was a whole other thing. And then Rhino just had to go. There's when I'm getting into all that personal stuff. But Manowar switched gears, and when we did Triumph of Steel, that was at A440, and I turned Joey on to EMG pickups. I had a lot of endorsements. I have a lot now. And then after I left the band, Manowar finally started tuning from A440 down a full step, to sound heavier. Might have been easier for Eric to sing, but he's a phenomenal singer.
Amazing.
No matter what he sings, I will say, Eric, one of my favorite singers, one of the best in the world at metal, and I was very glad to share the stage with him and everybody that's been in Manowar during my time, and with Joey when my time was in the band. I'll leave that at that. Things change, always do. But this is why I thought the Feanor thing would be great, because it's a flip side of that Triumph of Steel, and Manowar's never done that. The only thing they did, for whatever reason that I feel and Ross felt they didn't have to do, was go back and do any remixing and mastering. You already had great classic albums with Ross,
right.
And then you had the great Triumph of Steel, and the whole Achilles things we did, and we did it live, and it was a tremendous tour and everything. And you want to go back and remix and master? I don't know why they did it. Maybe they ran out of ideas, or they wanted to do something, or thought the technology would be better. I'm not in Joey's head and why he decided to do that, but they did, so whatever. And, they're still going. They're still doing their thing, just like I'm doing mine, no hard feelings. It is what it is. Again, things change, always do.
What's the relationship like today with these guys? Any kind of relationship with them? Or?
Yeah, I haven't talked to Joey in about probably 3 years in an email because somebody wanted to do a documentary, and he and I talked about it a little bit, but they already had their thing going on. But he and I haven't talked on the phone in many years, but, there's no bad blood that I know of. They don't speak badly of me. Nope. I don't speak badly of them. I just, when it's time to talk about Manowar and my time and what I did and what I wrote and what I still get paid for, I do. Nobody can take that away from me. Nobody can stop me from doing it any more than they can Ross. It is what it is, and I still have many, many, many Manowar fans all over the world, old, young, and new ones. And, Manowar fans that came and see me the last 2 tours in Argentina and Brazil when I toured with Feanor. And I have fans here in the States that'll come see me, and hopefully those fans will continue to bleed over into Grey Brain and Holy Tide. And we just keep moving forward. I wish them the best, and I wish what I'm doing the best. Godspeed,
Yeah. Last thing I'll ask you about Manowar, I promise. Look, as a fan, I was kind of hoping when they needed a guitar player, again, in recent times, that either it would be you or Ross. I mean, what do you think about a guy from a tribute band being in the band? I mean, don't get me wrong. It's very common for tribute artists to join bands. It's happened a lot of times recently, but what do you think?
In my opinion, they had a tribute band, Manowar, and they brought the drummer in, and he's been in the band for, I think, about a year and a half or 2 years. I thought he was a very good drummer to fit the band, and, you got a guy that's playing all the Manowar songs, that's cool. And then when that awful thing happened with Carl, everybody and their brother, Blabbermouth, the whole 9 yards, are they going to bring the Shred Demon back, the Death Dealer?
Right.
They should bring Ross back. Many people said David should come back, because of the Triumph of Steel. Ross left a long time ago. People were like, they should have Ross and David and have them both play together. But Joey would never do that because, Ross had his time, I had mine, and frankly, not me or Ross ever got a phone call or an email or a text to even discuss it. Now, we did interviews, and people came to me in magazines saying, hey, do you think you're going to be back in the band? And all I ever said, and I said it on Duke TV, and that interview was on my YouTube channel for Duke TV. I said, look, I got nothing against Manowar. If Joey and Eric want to summons up the strength to give me a call and talk to me about coming back, I would be happy to listen and put the bad shit behind if there is any and keep the good stuff. If you guys want to talk, I'd be happy to do it. But they never called, and they didn't call or email me, and they didn't Ross. So they chose, because the drummer, I heard at the time, said, look, why don't we bring in the guitar player that's in the tribute band? He knows all the songs. So Joey's big interview speech was, what's better than to bring a guitar player in the band? Was in a former Manowar band with our drummer, and the guy already knows the songs and have a fan do it. And it's like, well, okay, that's cool. But, he got a lot of flack. A lot of people gave that guitar player heat. A lot of Manowar fans wanted Ross, wanted me, wanted both of us. It don't matter. But, Joey said something once in an interview that's like, we have a new guitar player, and he's a combination of Ross and David and any guitar players we had. No, that's not true. Don't try and put that guy even in my world, let alone my hemisphere, okay? It does not exist. You do just fine with your little Manowar stuff, but you ain't in my league and in my hemisphere, okay? Not that Joey was saying that, but when he said that, I was like, yeah, okay, whatever. No disrespect to that guitar player, but, don't even go there. Okay, and I truly feel that way, and I have proven my playing, my writing, my composing, everything I do on all my records, it speaks for itself, But, that's Joey. Of course, he's going to talk about the guy, and the guy can play. Yeah. Certainly. Of course, he's he's a professional guitar player. He wouldn't be in the band. But there's many different levels of compressor. There's like good, this guy's really good, this guy's great, this guy shreds, this guy's a super shredder, and these guys are amazing, okay? There's many different levels, don't try, and people have opinions, But just because somebody has an opinion, Mike, doesn't mean their opinion is right. And I let that go, but I'm the guy that if I'm standing in a room and I hear people talking about guitar players, this and that, and whether my name is mentioned or something, and I hear a room, I'll walk up and politely say my response to it. But if somebody crosses the line and directs me about that, I'm the guy that will tell you exactly how it is that other people don't have the balls to tell you, and it won't be a very good answer, and you won't be friends with those people anymore. It's best you keep your mouth shut and step back. It's the people that got big mouths that'll get in trouble, and I'm the guy that'll go, let me put you in your place and tell you what it's all about. I'm that guy if I have to, because I've had to fight for everything I had to get where I'm at, and I love many guitar players out there over the years growing up that were influences on me, and I've seen what they've gone through. You know, I don't fight for a backseat, man. I get right up there with the best of them, and there's no need to even be playing. Sell your gear, go get a real job. You know what I mean? So Joey's got what he wants. He has the band. I know they had, what was it, your drummer from Hammerfall, was it, or somebody came in for a while? Do you know?
Well, I don't know, but I thought right now it's Johansson, who was in Yngwie.
Yeah, the guy before him I thought was the drummer from either Hammerfall or something like that, and then now they got the Johansson, and I don't know if he's still in the band or not, but, you know, they're great drummers, don't get me wrong, both of them are great drummers, and, you know, why people come and go, you know, who knows, point your finger at the leader of the band, I guess, maybe.
Yeah.
But, you know, it's Joey's band, and he's done very well for himself. He speaks several different languages, and, you know, he fought hard in the era to put Manowar on the map, and so did Ross. And, you know, they're there. When it was time for Ross to go, I came in. I did what I could until the writing was on the wall for me. Mm-hmm. But God bless them, and Ross moves on, and I move on, and I have many different projects and stuff, and, you know, my own line of hot sauce, new line of guitars coming out, so, you know, we can talk about that. It's all good. I wish Manowar all the best, and I thank them and love them for the time I had in that band. Thank you, but goodbye, and I move on, but my legacy in that band will always be there from Triumph of Steel, all the videos, all the tours. Nobody can ever take that away from me. Good luck trying. If you try, fuck off.
Well, hey, let's talk about guitar playing, man. Who's some of your influence? Who makes up David Shankle?
Well, that depends on the year and the time. When I was very, very young, my father turned me on to Merle Travis and Chet Atkins and Andre Segovia to get into classical guitar and finger picking. As I was real young, some of the first guitar players that I liked when it came to effects was Alex Lifeson from Rush. Not as a shredder. I just liked his sound of his guitar and playing and loved their songs. As I started really getting into playing, I started when I was 8 years old. I played for 2 weeks and said, fuck this. I wanted to be Evel Knievel. My mother said, forget it. You'll live longer. Play guitar. So when I was 14, my dad got me a guitar, and I was really at a young age into Michael Schenker. You know, another guy I liked when I was very young was Alvin Lee. These were the guys that were around, like Alvin Lee was around when Hendrix was and Carlos Santana. Remember, those guys played Woodstock too.
Right.
Okay, it wasn't just Hendrix. You know, when I was very, very young then, I liked, you know, I was like 13. I liked Rick Derringer back when he was jamming with Edgar Winter. My favorite blues player to this day, and I love them all, is Johnny Winters. Hands down was my favorite. That's why I never learned to play slide. I'm like, if you're not going to learn to play slide like him, don't waste your fucking time.
Right.
Because he was the king. But I love Johnny Winters. But in actual playing, I went through the Rick Derringer, Michael Schenker, Johnny Winters, and then I was really into Frank Marino from Mahogany Rush. The guy had a pedal board as long as a football field, and I got to see him open up for Aerosmith and AC/DC, and that's when guitar really started grabbing me. I was about 14, 15, didn't even have my license yet, 16 years old, and I was into that, and then I was hip to all this Mike Varney stuff, and I loved the Paul Gilberts, the Jason Beckers, the Bruce Perez, but I was already playing that stuff, but I liked them.
Right.
And I loved Eddie Van Halen, who didn't, God rest his soul, man, the things he brought to the guitar world, you know, legendary, but I also, at a young age, loved Steve Vai.
Yeah.
You know,
Yep.
I just loved his unique sound, his own way of playing. And when I got through those guys, I really started getting into another guy that I liked a lot, and God rest his soul, was Sean Lane and Alan Holsworth. I really liked those guys in that fusion kind of thing. And all that together, because my father was a music teacher, kind of culminated me into a lot of each one of these guys. I played classical guitar, gypsy jazz, neoclassical shred. I read music, compose. I'm a teacher. I went to college, and I've learned bits and pieces about all this different playing and styles until I was able to hone it, harness it, and bring it into my own and kind of, be my own player the best I can in my music and what I do. And, and if it wasn't for those guys, we all learned from somebody. And those were guys that, had an impact on me through my younger years going on. And another guy, one of my favorite guitar players, still to this day, believe it or not, I've never had a chance to meet, and I hope I will one day. He may have heard of me, he may not. I was about 15 and a half years old. And one of my friends of mine, Howard Anderson, I used to jam with, we used to jam together, handed me this album. And here's what I said when I saw the album. I said, who in the hell is this Italian-looking guy with this gypsy girl in the bed, this lawyer-looking guy? I said, who the fuck is this guy? Well, let me tell you, I never heard of him. I put the record on and I went, oh my God, what is this mute picking he's doing? Do you know who that guy was?
No.
Al Di Meola.
Oh, okay.
Gypsy. I ate those fucking words, and I went back to my bedroom and said, I need to see what's going on with this guy, and I've owned every album and CD the man has ever made since then. He was the guy that came in when I was into all the Vai, Van Halen, Frank Marino, all the young early Racer X stuff, and I was hugely into Yuli John Roth. Mm-hmm. When I was into Vai, I was into Roth, and when I heard Di Meola, I went, okay, I need to check out what this guy's doing and bring that into my world. And I've never met him, but he was always one of my favorite guitar players. So I thank all those guys. I'm friends with Uli Roth. We've done shows together when I had the band Devilland. And so I've known him since probably 2005, and we've done shows together and talk when we see each other. And Yuli's a legend. He's our guitar godfather in neoclassical shred. We love him. So those are some of the things where Dave Shankle kind of came out of the Phoenix. You know what I mean?
Yep, makes sense.
That kind of helped bring me to where I'm at. Don't get me wrong. Yngwie's great for what he did and all that, and that was wonderful. So is Richie Blackmore.
Yep.
A lot of great guitar players. And Yngwie made his mark. It certainly had his impact on everybody. And me. But for me, there's a lot of guys out there. And even more now that try and play too much like him, and
right.
It's pretty obvious. But I feel I have my own style, I have my own sound, my own way of writing, and that stuff's done very, very well for me. And, people know me as a super, super shredder, man, but a composer and play with feel and melodic and stuff. And, I do what I do, and I love what I do with the people that I do it with. And like I said earlier, people like what I do, great. Thank you. Buy my records. Be my friend, my fan. If you don't like what I do, fuck off. Okay? Go away. I don't give a shit.
So my channel focuses a lot on like the 80s glam metal. We focus on, Kiss and Poison and Rat and Dokken and Crew. Did you ever like any of this kind of music?
Oh, my God, please. I love Dokken. Don Dokken's a friend of mine. George Lynch, great guitar player. Met them, hung out with them many a times in the 80s, even at NAMM when I was with ESP Guitars for 16 years. I always would go to the booth and hang out and talk with George Lynch. And when Don Dokken's in town, I always go down and see him and hang out backstage. I'm a Dokken fan. I grew up listening to Dokken and 80s bands. I love that.
Nice.
That kind of music, the whole Dokken thing and the early Van Halen, and don't get me wrong, I really love what Sammy Hagar did with Van Halen too. Mm-hmm. And Nuno Bettencourt, I think a great guitar player too, great songwriter, and that whole Extreme thing I thought was great stuff. Really liked him. I met him once at NAMM, talking, took pictures. Super nice guy. A lot of respect for him. He's done very well for himself. And another guitar player I forgot to mention that I've met and friends with, and I like a lot, and a lot of people have compared me to. If you take me as the head of a quarter, flip it over and in the tail, is I love his music It's a lot like the DSG. He's been successful as Christian Pilatera.
Yeah.
Another guy I like a lot. His guitar playing, his music, is the whole DSG thing kind of fits right up in that vein as well. You know, he and I, a lot of people have compared us together, and you know, I could see some of that, and I like him, respect him. We've met. He knows who I am. He's fond of my playing. Great guy. You know, I sit right in that basket of guys. Me, the whole Michelangelo Badio.
Yep.
We're great friends. We played on each other's records. He's played on mine. Joe Stump, another great player, friend of mine. Christian Pilatera. You know, those guys are all kind of that world that we all are kind of cut from the same clay, but different sides of the mountain. Even though we're on the same mountain, just different sides. If that makes any sense to you.
Oh, it does. And I always like to ask, because like I said, I think I've told you, I talked to Rhino before, and I asked him, like, and he ended up saying, I liked early Motley Crue.
How could you not like Motley Crue?
Right.
You know, I mean, their early stuff was great, and they helped change the face of that kind of glam metal. It got heavy, and I love Rhino. I mean, I was so happy that we got to meet each other on this planet and get him in Manowar and play together, and we still talk today. And when I start doing my instrumental record, which the artwork is done for it, which will be called Unleash the Dragon, you know, Rhino's going to be doing some drums on it.
Sweet.
So that is definitely going to be happening.
Yeah, because I always ask that because I always think of like Manowar's thing was, you know, wimps and posers and all that kind of stuff. So I always love to see if, you know, if the Manowar members like some of this music. So I'm glad to hear it.
You guys gotta check out the band Platinum Overdose. It's new hair metal with the classic 80s sound. Their new album, Back for the Thrill, made Sleaze Rock's top 10 albums of 2020. And it's just killer. Go to ddrmusicgroup.com or platinumoverdose.com and check it out. Hey guys, this podcast takes a lot of time and effort. I want to do more in-depth projects on here, but I can't do it without your help. Just Google 80's Glam Metalcast on Anchor. Once there, hit the support button and you can donate 99 cents, $4.99, or $9.99 a month. Your support will ensure that this podcast will be rocking out for years to come.
Dave, tell everybody about what you've got going on with your hot sauce and your new line of guitars.
When I was first sat in with Veilside, we played a place called Farm Rock, and it was with Dawkins, Queensryche, Slaughter, several other bands, Sebastian Bach. And when I was on stage, I saw this red truck way out in the field, and I'm like, wow, that looks pretty cool. What is that? So when we got done playing, I walked over there, and Merle and his wife, they own a company up here in Lake Geneva, Wisconsin, called Hellfire Hot Sauce. It's premier hot sauce. And we talked about me doing a signature sauce. Well, a year went by and we were talking about it, and then another year or two went. Well, I finally got it together about, 2.5 years ago, and we got two different versions. We have Full Shred, which is the milder hot sauce, and then we have the Shred Demon, which is the hotter one. And you can get that through our Grave Rain Band website, and you can go directly to hellfirehotsauce.com and get those bottles. If you like hot sauce, they're sweet, tasty, and sassy. They've done very well for me. So, you know, it was just kind of a cool thing to do. It dropped in my lap, and they're great people, best of friends with me. Hellfire Hot Sauce, man. Two different versions I got out. Full Shred, Shred Demon. So I'm happy about that.
Sweet.
Now, a new announcement that's coming is I've been with many companies for guitars. Court Guitars, ESP Guitars, Dean Guitars for a long time that did the 29-fret 7-string shred machine for the video I did, the Demonic Solo, 10 years ago for the Jezebel Vampire movie, which in 2010 was hailed as one of the fastest guitar solos ever. So that was very cool. On a 7-string guitar, not to mention. So I'm proud about that. Now, I'm with a new company that this guy Jeff had been talking to me for over 2 years. I was with Grossman for a while, had 2 guitars with him. You know, problems happen, things occur, and things change. But Jeff, I call him Jedi Jeff because he's such a great guitar builder. He and I just clicked, everything I wanted to do. I took the best of all the guitars I had and said, let's put them into one and go even farther with the bodies, the cutaway. The way the neck joins the body, the heel, he's going to end up patenting because nobody's got it. It's like you play the neck and go all the way up to the 24th fret. It's a bolt-on, but you don't even know it because it feels like a neck through the body. He did a great job. It's all EMG pickups. I'm a Kaler tremolo guy. My signature shred bar from Kaler. You know, the custom military jacks, Ernie ball strings, and it's my own custom design. And we will be releasing very soon the DS6 and the DS7 shred machines by Viper Guitars out of California. I'm very excited to be doing videos, playing out with him, going to the NAMM show, guitar shows. He's got a lot of other great guitar players on there. Jimmy Bell from Autograph is one of his guys. Lloyd Wallace, several other guys are with Viper Guitar, and I'm on as a main new guy as well. This guitar is strictly built for me. People will be able to get it, either with a Kaler or Floyd Rose when it comes out. But, you know, we did 2 prototypes and then went back to the drawing board and said, let's get rid of this and that and build them from the ground up. So I'm very excited. You'll all know about those when they come out. And then I'll be doing a lot of videos for my YouTube channel on how I did solos on all my DSG records. Manowar stuff. I'm on 39 guest solo CDs, 3 new records coming out, and, you know, and start doing video stuff for that and promoting the guitar and getting out and playing and seeing many other bands and great players if this COVID thing will let us all get out. So I just keep busy and thank God for my students and our business and to stay healthy and just keep moving forward as long as I can while I'm still alive, man.
That's awesome, man. Good luck with both of those. What do you want to say to the fans out there in closing?
I want to say, hey, everybody, it's a hard time for all of us. Get your shots, wear a mask, you know, keep your hands clean, keep everything in your house clean, get yourself checked, and let's everybody just pray to the gods above that this COVID thing and these shots are going to clear it up and let everything get back to normal so people can go see bands, go see your favorite bands, come see Dave Shankle, come see Feanor, Grave Rain, Holy Tide. Hey, buy my hot sauce if you like it. If you don't like hot sauce, try it anyways. And go see all the bands and the music and live again. Get out and live again and survive. We must go on. And, you know, and thanks for having me. And, again, you know, FeanorBand.com, GraveRainBand.com, Holy Tide. We all have Facebooks. I'm pushing my new YouTube channel. Just go look for Dave Shankle, hit subscribe and the bell, and you'll be seeing all the new videos coming. You know, hit like on all my Dave Shred Demon Shankle Facebooks. I got 5, 6 Facebook pages and everything. And, you know, if you're interested, go subscribe and hit like, and you'll see what's going on with us, and hopefully see you out on the road. You know, definitely, if you're interested in guitar lessons, contact me through my Facebook, the main one, David Shankle, my inbox, and we can talk about online lessons. I've been teaching professionally for 30 years, and trust me, I can help you reach your goals.
That's awesome.
Thank you for having me, Metal Mike. You're totally cool. Hail to all my true metal friends. I want you to get ready for the Power of the Chosen One CD coming out April 23rd on Massacre Records. And here's the first single, Rise of the Dragon. Shred on.
My eyes of fire, one fix, they never blink. See me once again, hiding in the bay. My fire will burn your soul. I will never change, I remain the same. And now I raise a bow. The Dragon Lord, King of the skies, with honor till the end. Behold tonight how we shine, proudly bound your chest.
That was a blast talking with David, and what a killer metal track by Feanor. Make sure you check out their album, Power of the Chosen One, out on April 23rd. And make sure you sub to the 80's Glam Metalcast. There's so much cool stuff on the way. You don't want to miss any of it. Rock on!